Hi guys, it's the 2nd of February. I'm just going to give you a quick walk through my allotment. It's looking pretty sad at the moment because, to be honest, I haven't been here for the last sort of 3 or 4 months for any length of time. I'm just going to give a quick walk through today and show you what I've got and some of what I'm hoping to do. Right, the only beds that are really being used at the moment are this one here. As you can see, I've got some elephant garlic growing in here, which I put in, must have been October time, and that's starting to come up nicely. So we're going to fertilise that today. And then across here, we've got what were some stock plants, because I fancied a bit of colour this year. I didn't have any flowers last year, and I thought this year I'd try and have some, but they're not doing too well. Whoops, yep, leaf just came off as you can see, so I'm not sure if they'll pick up when the weather gets warmer. If not, I'll just give it a go next year and stick something else in there for the time being. And across to here we've got more garlic. I do like my garlic and I love growing it as well. Whoops, just slipped there. All different varieties. These are all autumn planting varieties that I put in. I got them from the garlic farm in the Isle of Wight because, well, I like the Isle of Wight and I've heard that garlic's pretty good, so we shall see. But I've got plenty of different varieties. I can't remember the names of them all at the moment. I did write them on in pencil, but I think, yeah, there's nothing there anymore, is there? And again, over to this bed. Needs a good old clean up. Try and make it clearer. I had some fennel that I was growing, but again, when it got colder, I sort of left that. And it's doing its own sweet thing now. And again, this is a bed that I had lettuce and spinach and Swiss chard in last year. Just the remains there. It needs to be sort of dug over a bit. And across here is just well, it was a nice dug over bed when I dug it over last year, but everyone told me to cover it, and I should have covered it, and I meant to cover it, but I didn't. So yeah, plenty of weeds thriving there now. But I'm sure come the warmer months I'll get digging on that again. And again, down here is another overgrown bed that I'll need to sort out. Got raspberry canes that I put in last year. And they've just died down now. I'm hoping to move them actually. We'll see if they survive a move. And then across to here is the leek bed. They're not looking too great, but I pulled up a couple the other day and they seem fine. Yeah, I've probably left them in a little too long perhaps, but again, it's my first year of properly doing this, so trial and error, isn't it? Yeah, looks like these ones are going to a flower, going to run to seed, so they're probably a bit past their best, I would guess, by that. Again, there we have my archway, which I built last year. I'll try and upload some photos of what this looked like before I took it on, because I know it doesn't look like much at the moment, but I've done a lot on it, and it's coming on. This is where the cabbages were. I've used a few of them. Had one with Christmas dinner, which was nice, but the trouble with me is it comes down to winter and I hibernate a little bit, and all that hard work that just goes to waste. There we go, he would have been quite decent, wouldn't he, a month or so ago? But never mind. Next year I think I'm going to concentrate on more summer planting things. And again, my intention is to have this bit here as sort of a grassy bit where you can just sort of chill out and enjoy. Lots of rubbish back there, but that'll all get tidied when it gets a little warmer. and our little homemade bench, which we put up with the leftover poles from the arch. Well, what I'm planning on doing today is actually getting some of my spring planting garlic in, because it's about time for that now. And I've also got some tulips, which I am a good 2 months late with planting due to laziness, and I want to put them in there. I'm not sure if they'll do anything being planted this late, but I figure they're probably better off in the ground than sitting in the boot of my car. So I'm going to hopefully, if the rain holds off, give that a bit of a dig over and try and get some tulips in. But the main job for today is definitely focusing on this bed here with the old fennel and clearing that up a bit and getting some of this, oh sorry, doing this one-handed, getting some of this spring planting garlic in. And what I've got here is, there we go, focus, yeah, Lautrec white, and there we go, Solent white. Got some nice big healthy bulbs, so yeah, we're going to try and plant them today. And I'm using this fertiliser as well from the garlic farm on the Isle of Wight, just to fertilise the garlic that's already in there, and mix some of this in with the soil for planting these. This should have been mixed in a good sort of couple of weeks before I planted garlic, but I didn't do that. So I'm going to hope that I can stick it in at the same time, and we'll see what happens. Right, okay, I'm going to prepare this bed now, dig it over. I'm sure you don't want to watch that because it'll be boring, but when it's done I will come back and show you what I'm going to do and how I'm doing it. Right, so what I've done now is just quickly dug over this bed a little bit. And because I'm only going to use half this bed for the garlic, I've only actually really dug this half properly. This half I've pulled out all that old fennel, which is over there now. But it still needs a bit of digging, but I figured since nothing's going to be in there for a while and I'm not going to cover it, I may as well just do it when I get to it. And what I've also done is I had 2 cloves each of the Lautrec white and the Solent white. Taken all of the Solent white out, and I've done one of the Lautrec white so far. And the Lautrec white is a hard neck garlic, which means it's got this hard stem through the centre. The varieties you get in supermarkets are generally soft necks, because soft necks store for about a year or so, or more even. But hard necks will only store for sort of 2 or 3 months, so hard necks taste nicer. They've got more intense flavour. They're lovely summer garlics, but they don't store very well for more than 2 or 3 months. So the supermarkets tend to sell this variety of not this specific variety, but they tend to sell soft necks, which don't have this hard stem, and they do store, but they've got that, I don't know, that garlicky flavour that some people don't tend to like, that you get with soft necks, whereas you often find with hard necks that you don't tend to get that so much, and people that don't traditionally like garlic, if they try a hard neck, may well like it. Anyway, I'm going to try and balance this camera on my impromptu tripod stand for now and show you how to undo the bulbs. Right, I hope this works. Let's see. Right, hope you can see this. Yep, go a bit lower. Right, okay, so this is Lautrec white, and when you're opening it, you've got to be really careful. Bring that while I'm collecting my rubbish. As I was saying, yeah, you've got to be really careful not to harm the root bit down here, because that's where the roots are going to grow from, and if you damage that, then it's not going to grow, and all your hard work and being out in the cold is going to be for nothing. So I'm just going to peel away. Sorry, you probably can't see that. The outer skin. And then carefully just peel each individual clove off. You don't need to worry about doing anything else with it, just leave it like that. So I'm going to keep going. Oh. The peeling and the unwrapping. In my soil here that I've dug over, I've also dug in about a tablespoon of that garlic fertiliser that I showed you earlier, which I say should have been done about a couple of weeks before the actual planting of the garlic, but I didn't get round to it. And you're looking really for the biggest cloves, because the biggest cloves are going to produce the biggest bulbs of garlic for you. I'm lucky in that I've got a fair space to grow this in, so I'll probably end up putting most of these in, if not all of them. And in the last bulb that I undid, I did find a couple of cloves that, as you can see, are just rotten and bad. So I'm not going to bother with that, because obviously that's not going to grow and it's just going to be taking up space. So I found two. That one I wasn't sure about, but I've got plenty, so I'm going to just sort of ditch that one as well. And if I was growing anything other than garlic, I probably would have dug this ground a little better. But to be honest, I've heard that garlic grows pretty well, even in sort of poor soil. So I'm just going to give it a go. And the rest that I put in those other two beds seems to be coming up quite nicely anyway as well. So I've got to be doing something right. There we go. You can see there's the hard neck stem again. Right, get rid of all this crap. That can go in the compost heap. Right. And the other thing I forgot to do is bring down my markers to show where they're going to be. So I'm just going to use these pegs to signify each line. And all I'm going to do, for me personally today, because it's quicker and it's easier, I'm just going to sort of lay them out where I'm planning having them. I suppose I'm leaving about 4 inches between them. I know some people might say leave more, some might say leave less, but this is what I'm doing. I suppose I'm leaving about 6 inches between the rows. Right, so I'm going to carry on with this, and when I've laid out the rows, I shall show you again. Right, so I've laid out my rows now. I think I got 4 rows of the Lautrec white and 2 rows of the Solent white. I actually did end up with just a few small leftover cloves, but I'm not too bothered about that because there's a lot here, and I want to save that space at the end for onions or something anyway, so this is by far enough, considering I've got that bed there full with garlic and half of that bed with elephant garlic. I think I'm going to be doing alright for garlic. And all I'm going to do now is just sort of bury these just a little bit. I mean, one of my friends up here said to leave the top bit sticking out, but I like to just sort of bury them a little. And I say last year worked okay for me. I planted too late last year actually, but we still got some edible garlic, so which is what we like. Right, let's just cover them all up and then we'll be done. Oh, and just forgot to mention, it's fairly obvious, but when you're planting garlic, oh sorry, this camera's rubbish at focusing, but you obviously want the side with the roots, which you can't see because the camera's focusing rubbish, but the side where the roots are, obviously that's the side to plant down, so you've got the tip poking out upwards. Right, let's get the rest of these planted and then I'll be back. Right, so the garlic's all been covered up now, all buried in its little earth house, which hopefully will be nice and cool. I think it's 30 nights under 10 degrees that garlic needs for the bulb to form into those cloves, so hopefully, being the 2nd of February, there's still time for it to get that. I've also covered them up just with these, I think it was chicken wire fencing things. The person that had this allotment before me had chickens and they left these here, which I've just used to stop the birds plucking them out. I mean, you don't have to cover them, but if you don't, just watch out for birds or animals digging and pulling them out, and if they do, just plop them back in the soil and hopefully you'll be alright. And all I'm going to do now, on this bed where the garlic's already growing, I'm going to take about a tablespoon of that fertiliser, and I'm just going to sprinkle it over this way. Oh, the wind doesn't help with that. And then another tablespoon, oh, don't blow away, over here, just a little bit, along a bit. And because the ground's wet, I'm not going to water that in. If it was dry, then I'd water that in. Let's go across and do some for the elephant garlic as well. Okay, just say about a tablespoon. A tablespoon covers about 1 metre squared, and these beds are 1 metre by 2, so it's quite easy to work out how much I need. And this is specific garlic fertiliser as well. I don't know what it's got in it. Well, I'm not too sure, but something that's good for garlic. I'll have a read up on that and see if I can find out. Yeah, apply that sort of every 6 weeks. Say if it's dry or the ground's dry when you do it, just water it in as well. But as it's not dry, I'm not going to water it in because I do not want to overwater these. And all I'm going to do now is take this last chicken wire panel, and I didn't have these covered up, but I am going to cover those smaller ones up again. I haven't got any more panels, but I did notice something had been digging in there when I came here this morning, so just because those are the smallest ones, I'll put it there and hope that helps. Right, and I think, no, that's not everything for today, is it? Because I've still got the tulips. I've forgotten the tulips again. Never mind. I'll see if I can get them in now, but I don't think the camera's got enough power left to do that in the video as well, so let's just leave it with the garlic for today and the little allotment tour, and hopefully you've enjoyed my video. Sorry for the shaky camera angles and poor focusing, but I'm working with what I got. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you all again. Thank you for watching.